The thing about Facebook is that they don't allow music to be played. So if I play music that is popular, like the music that I like to play when I am jamming with y'all during the weekend on weekend, it's not going to play on Facebook. And then I get confused about it. You know, it just doesn't do on Facebook. So it shouldn't look too weird. The only reason I'm doing it on YouTube, on Facebook, TikTok with you guys, and also doing it on my I've started my my YouTube is because I'm going to be talking about something that I normally talk about on my channel anyway, and it is sex and intimacy. For some reason, there is a disconnect with people because they do not understand the difference between sex and intimacy. So we're going to talk about that tonight. I have Mimi is supposed to be coming in. If you have any friends or anybody that you want to invite, you can invite them in now. Share it live. Share it with your friends and your people. And yeah, show it, share it with your friends and all of that other good stuff. And we are going to be on here hopefully about an hour. Mimi should be coming in a minute. Mimi, go use that. Do you still have the link that I sent you for YouTube? Because if you're not on the YouTube, they're not going to be able to hear you. So if you're not on StreamYard, you need to come over that way. Do you still have the if you still have the link, please use that link and join me over here on StreamYard, because they won't be able to hear you on StreamYard. They'll just be let me see if I can resend it to you. Did I send it to your Gmail? Oh, I think I sent it to you in Messenger. Hold on. What is what's your email again? I am. Here you go. I'm sending it to you now. Oh, it won't let me send it. I wish I had known this earlier. Now I got to play around with this. All right, let me try to send it again. Now I'm stuck in some loop. I don't know what this is. Oh, I'm trying to send you the link. Hold on. don't know where I got this music from, but this music sounds like something you watch late at night when your children are sleeping. I just sent it to you, Mimi, so you should be able to come into the studio with me. I'm going to wait on you. And again, we're going to be talking about sex versus intimacy. I've actually done a show on this before, but me and Mimi were having a very interesting conversation earlier, and I wanted to continue with this conversation with her. It would really surprise you. Let me get rid of this music because I swear if somebody is listening to the door, they're gonna think you're looking at something else. So me and Mimi had a really interesting conversation earlier, and we didn't start off talking about intimacy and sex. We didn't. We started off talking about just being in a relationship with someone who has dealt with trauma from a woman's perspective. Because I think a lot of times we're in relationships with guys, and reason I talk about it from a woman's perspective a lot is, guess what? Because I'm a girl, and I talk about things from my experience. Thank everybody for following on my TikTok. If you would do me a favor and go over to YouTube on Black Honey and follow and subscribe and like my videos over there. I'm just trying to build up my followers over there. My followers over here, I get so many people on a daily basis. So hold on. Okay, I think that was a mistake. All right, so right now we're on YouTube, Facebook Live, and I'm on TikTok. Okay. Please like and share and comment and all that other good stuff that I'm probably going to forget to say when Mimi gets on and we get into the topic of whatever we're going to be talking about. And what we are going to be talking about is the difference between sex and intimacy, because the line between the two is thicker than the line between love and hate. Okay. Love and hate, what they say is a thin line, but I don't see you yet. I don't see you, Mimi. Your picture's not up, so I can't bring you in until I can. Hold on. Yeah, I don't see you yet. Hold on. Nope, you're not backstage yet. There's something going on because you're not there. So while Mimi is trying to get backstage, I don't see her yet. There's such a thin line between love and hate is what they say, but the line between sex and intimacy is a broader, fatter line than that. And you would be surprised how many people, men especially, because and I say men especially not as a bash or anything like that, but I say men especially because men aren't the greatest communicators in the world. It's just not something that they do. Luminettes, I'm not sure why you're asking why. I don't know if I said something that you need to. I don't know. So I don't know. And I don't know why. And the one thing I don't know is I don't know why men don't communicate as well or as much. It may not be as well, but as much as women. You can get them to talk about a football game for 13, 14 hours. out of the day. But you ask them how they feel about something, and they clam up, and they can't find the words to express themselves. And so I don't know what the problem is with that. So that's some things I just don't think we'll ever know the answer to that. It's the same thing as why I got you, Mimi. Why let me know when you're ready and you're sitting down or whatever. And I don't know why it is, and I guess men ask the question of, they don't know why women don't never know what they want to eat when they say they're hungry. So there are some things that we're never going to know. And there are some things, how you doing, Mimi?
Hey.
There are some things we're never going to know. And there are some answers I do not have and will never have. And I think that even Jesus himself has a couple of questions about why we are so different. But one thing I do not think is, I do not agree with women are from Venus and men are from Mars. We're not that far apart.
Right.
We're all on the same planet. And we all go through the same things, and we just handle those things differently. And so that's one of the main things that me and Mimi gonna really hit on today. If you'll be able to hear Mimi through my phone, but if you really want to get into the conversation and really talk and really discuss it with us, please go to my YouTube channel. It's called Black Honey, and you can go into the chat and we can do that. Otherwise, I might miss your comments on TikTok unless one of my mods come on my TikTok and come up on the screen and just tell me and read questions. Other than that, I might miss you. And sometimes people get really upset when they think I'm ignoring them, and I'm really not. We just, especially when I get into running my mouth, and I think I'm smart. So I'm Bobbie, just in case a lot of you don't know. And this is the lovely, lovely Mimi. We're on here Sundays at 7:00. And you can join us on YouTube. You can go to my Facebook channel, which is Bobbie the Overtaker. And also you can see us on TikTok sometimes. Sometimes our conversations we don't do on TikTok. So don't get used to seeing us here all the time at 7. Sometimes we have to go to YouTube and Facebook because TikTok, their guidelines are weird. And I almost got banned last night for saying one word. And that's just how it is. So let's get into it, because I don't want to keep y'all all night. Kids got to go to school still, and people got to go to work in the morning. So what we were talking about earlier today, we were talking about just relationships, but what we really hit on is the fact that both of us are in relationships with people that have been through trauma. But one thing about women and the trauma that we go through, we know it's trauma. Mm-hmm. And one of the worst things that I think that women do when it's a single parent household and it's a woman raising a young man, this is the problem. The problem with that is that when it comes down to trauma in a young man, it is very hard to see. It's very hard for him to say that's trauma. And the reason I say that is because the first thing that a woman says once a boy child turns 5 is boys ain't supposed to cry. See, that's your first mistake. And so once you get that boys ain't supposed to cry, whatever happens to them after you tell them that, and it starts to get into their brain and it gets into the other things that they're developing in, you done messed up. Because now whatever is real trauma is not seen as trauma. It's I can't cry, so it can't, and it ain't that serious. And so when you grow up and you get in a relationship with a woman, you still in your mind think I can't cry. That's first. Second, all of those things that you went through as a child, those are not really traumas. That's just how a man become a man. Mm-hmm. Other mistake, because it doesn't work that way, especially when you have a man that has grown up and has been touched by a woman. And so we don't talk about that because men don't want to talk about that. because to them it's like a weakness. But honey, if you a child and you 15, 16, 17, and somebody is 30, 40 messing with you in a way that is sexual, that's a problem. That is not how men become men. That's not that. That's the M word, which I said yesterday, but TikTok will cut me off. The MOL, y'all know what I'm talking about. That's what that is. Because you have no idea what that is. And you have no idea the adult thoughts that you have to deal with when you're put into that situation so early. So that's what we were talking about today. And one of the things that I'm still trying to teach my fiance is that there's nothing wrong with a man crying. There's nothing wrong with understanding whatever the trauma was and then talking about it with the person, because this is the person you plan on spending the rest of your life with. And that person doesn't understand why you're not touchy feely and huggy and like to be whatever. And they don't understand that intimacy and sex are different. Just because I'm rubbing you on your leg or your back or your arm does not mean I want to have sex with you. But if you grew up with somebody touching and feeling on you at an age where you did not know what it meant, and they were doing that and it led into sex, then you grow up with the idea that women only look at me and women only touch me when they want to have sex with me. And so then you go into a relationship with that. And she's wondering why you always think just because I walk by you and I stay, because women have a habit, well, honey, when you got a good man, it's just sometimes you just look at him and go, my God, what did I do to deserve this? Like God, like we just we like to look. And so when you grow up with a man who has had someone touch him or he has been introduced to sexual relations at such a young age, but he doesn't understand that when you're with a woman, it's different. When you're with a woman and y'all are in a relationship, it's not the same thing. I just want to sit on your lap. I just want a massage. You giving me a massage, by the time you get down to my hips, you done. You ready to but I just wanted a massage. I just wanted to lay in the bed and hug up on you. But a lot of men, and I've spoken to, and I say that because I'm a truck driver. I've spoken to a lot of men, and a lot of them think that when a woman rubs on them or touches them or shows some kind of affection, that is not just affection or a point just to be intimate with you, to show you that I love you. It's automatically, she just want to have sex. And so then your relationships becomes one-sided and lopsided because you just want him to know that you're there. But you also want him to understand that that this is me teaching you and showing you that I love you. And I'm showing it to you in a way in a physical way that does not have to lead necessarily into having sex.
Right.
Okay. So we were talking about romantic relationships, sex and intimacy, and all of these things. But when you say those three things, they're not interchangeable. They're not the same thing.
Right.
Intimacy, sex, and having a relationship is not the same thing. It's not. Your relationship is just like your relationship with God or whoever you decide you want to pray to. That relationship is communication and talking. And if you want to really be deep about it, it's praying and meditating. That's your relationship. You have to do that with that person. You got to talk back and forth.
Right.
Back and forth, people. That means I'm not the only one spilling my guts.
Right.
Every now and then you got to spill your guts and you got to say some things that you don't want nobody else to know. But you got to be able to trust that I'm not going to bring that back up during a petty moment. And this is where relationships go wrong. But we'll come back to that because we're talking about relationship right now. So your relationship with that person is just like your relationship with God. You talking, you meditating on what the other person is saying, which means you have to listen. And then you're giving responses back and forth. And you're waiting on them. You're waiting on God to respond back, and you're waiting on that other person to respond back. Hello, Miss E. So that's what we're talking about with relationship. We talking about intimacy. Intimacy is just is almost like relationship. It's communicating, but it's communicating with a little bit of physical in it.
Yeah.
It's communicating by touching the face and holding hands and rubbing on the back, or just when you're walking in the street, having your hand on the small of a woman's back will change your life. You understand me?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that people don't like when I say this, but it's the truth. You want to have a woman legs at 1 and 2 on the regular, put your hand on her arm, put your hand on her back and walk with her in public. Put your hand in her back pocket. Just touch her on her neck. All you're doing is showing her in an intimate way that I'm right here. Anything pop off, I got this. You ain't got to keep your head on a swivel because I'm here. You do that when you by yourself. But when I'm here, you can do, there's a new thing on TikTok where these ladies are thinking about all kind of crazy stuff. That's how you should be with your man. And if you're with a man and you still have to protect yourself and you still got to look around and figure out what's going on and he's not there to protect you, then honey, y'all need to reevaluate your relationship.
Right.
You see, I went back to relationship, right? So then you have sex, which is a totally different thing. And sex is just a purely physical, because sex don't have nothing to do with intimacy. Intimacy can lead into sex, but sex is just a purely physical thing. And I'm gonna tell you how I know that's the truth. Because sex can be had even when both of y'all mad. And I'll tell you this, and I think I dribbled a little bit, honey. Listen, angry sex, honey, it make your hair grow. Angry sex will bring your edges back. That's all I'm saying. Angry sex, honey, we still arguing, but the energy in the room, we're not gonna swing on each other. We're not gonna throw no furniture. You take out your anger on me, I'll take and then we'll talk about this when we wake up in a few minutes. And so that's what sex is. Sex is purely animal driven. Hey, Dimples, it's just purely animal driven. And that and the reason I can is like that is because you have people who get paid to do it. You know, you can watch them tapes that's kind of grainy when you're cheering, go to sleep. You know what I'm talking about. And so it's purely animalistic. It don't have nothing to do. It really don't have nothing to do with love. It don't have nothing to do with intimacy. It don't have nothing to do with relationship, whether you in it or not. You can do that in the bathroom at the club. Because it don't have, sex is really not, it's just something that it's a release for your body.
Yep.
But the thing about sex is, like I was talking to Mimi earlier today, I told my boyfriend, if you want it to be mind-blowing and toe curling all the time, then the other two things that I talked about, which is relationship and which is intimacy, if you have both of those, then yes, every time you do it, your toes will curl up, your back will crack, and you'll go right on to sleep. But if it's just animal driven and it's just sex, that's how a man or a woman can have sex with you, make you feel like you just had the best whatever you had, roll over, get up, put on their clothes, and walk out the door. Because it's just a physical release of energy. But if once you add intimacy and relationship into sex, it changes the dynamics of how you feel and what you feel. And I think a lot of times women are confused when a man can make them feel a certain way, or they do that little special thing where they go down in the tunnel with their mouth. Yes. And they think, oh, he's doing that for me because he don't do it for everybody else. Not knowing that he do it to everybody. And sometimes when a man do certain things with you, or after it's over, he hold you for another hour or whatever, and you think, oh, he just loved me. Well, no, he just waited for his breathing to come back so he can go take a shower and leave. And so a man having sex with you is not, and listen, this is something I had to learn, because as a young girl being promiscuous, I thought they all loved me. They had to, or they wouldn't have did that thing. Or they wouldn't have said all the little sweet stuff they said before they had me laid out. And so as you grow older and mature, you understand the differences between just somebody hitting it and running and understand intimacy and sex. And I say that with a grain of salt because there are so many. I had an ex-boyfriend. I had and then I'm gonna let Mimi come in with her thoughts on what I'm talking about. I had a guy that I was with, and we were just talking one day, and he got very angry with me because of what I said. And he was talking about his baby mamas and sex and all of that other stuff, but he never talked about them having a relationship. And he was talking about him having sex and all that other stuff. And I asked him, I can't remember exactly what I asked him, but after whatever answer he gave me from that, I said, "So you never had a real orgasm?" And he said, "You sound stupid." That's what he said to me. He said, "You sound stupid. I got 3 children." And I said, "What they got to do with anything? Dogs have, you feel me, like a female dog, I have a litter of 7, 8. It doesn't mean anything." I said, you've never actually had an orgasm with a woman. You've never made love to a woman. Because he was like, "Well, I don't kiss and I don't do all that stuff before because women do that to make you look stupid." Bruh, you serious? And he was serious. And all of those things that you just said you don't do, if you don't do that with a real woman, then you just hitting and sleeping over.
Yep.
Because foreplay for a woman is how you prime the pump. Like, that's how you prime the pump. And you telling me you've never done that? Then you've never had an orgasm, and you've never given a woman an orgasm. You've made her finish. I'm trying to say the nice word for it, but she hasn't. But you've never had an orgasm, and you've never given a woman one. Not no real one. Not no mind bending. I'm going to get up and cook you something to eat, and I plan on naming all our children Junior, even if it's a girl. You understand? So I hope y'all can hear. Like I said, we're also over on Facebook and we're on YouTube. And if you would like to come over there, let us know, and I'll put the name of it in the link for those of you on TikTok. But I hope you can hear Mimi. But Mimi's gonna come in and she's gonna tell you some of the thoughts that she had when we were talking about earlier. Go ahead, Mimi. It's on you, baby.
Okay. So basically, we were talking about different forms of intimacy and sex. People confuse intimacy and sex with being in the same category, and it's really not. Different forms of intimacy, to me, it could be a foot rub, it could be a massage. It don't even have to lead to sex. Sometimes as a woman or as a man, physical touch, you can also equate that to love language. And I really feel like people need to learn each other's love language. They also need to learn the different forms of intimacy, because intimacy, as soon as you hear intimate, you automatically equate that with sex. Just because you're being intimate with a person does not mean that you're having sex with that person. That person could have given you a foot rub. They could have given you a back rub. They could have been holding your hand. They could have been, as Auntie said, holding the small of your back. And then people automatically just assume, okay, just because he touched you or she touches you, she wants to have sex with you. And sometimes a person just wants to touch you or look at you because they love you or because they have feelings towards you. But I feel like you can have sex with anybody and not have a connection. People automatically think because, like Auntie said, a man goes down on you or a woman goes down on you that you're special. You're not special. Sometimes they just trying to get their rocks off and hope they get your rocks off before they get their rocks off. Because once they get their rocks off, they really don't care about getting you off.
Right.
And a man can lay with you, like Auntie said, for that hour. Then he's up, putting on his clothes, going home to where he really want to be. Just because a man sleeps with you does not mean that you're anything special. And I also had to learn that. Being young and becoming a teen mom, I had to learn that just because a man said the 3 words, he said it while we were laying down. Just because a man said, "Oh, I want you to have my baby." If the man wasn't saying that before we had sex, I learned that anything a man says during sex, I don't take that to be serious. because he's saying it while you're in the moment. You're in the moment. You'll say anything. It feels good to you. It feels good to him. And maybe it don't feel good to you, but it just feels good to him. Like, people really need to learn that sex and intimacy are different. People also need to learn that as whatever trauma you went through as a kid, it was actual trauma. It wasn't, it's not a flex if you were a kid as a man, now, and you were being touched as a child. It's not a flex.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't understand what an older woman would do with a kid that she can't do with a grown man. I don't understand what a grown man would do with a child that he can't do with a grown woman. It just doesn't make sense to me. And we have so many people out there that haven't healed from their traumas, as far as the M word, being young as females and males. We really didn't understand that it was M back then. We thought that it was just something that was supposed to happen. So some women, when they got older and became teenagers and, so on and so forth, they got really promiscuous. No, and everybody judged them because they didn't understand. Well, they just this, they're just that. No, they're just loose. They're just out there. We really have to look at the world today versus the world back then, and how things went, and how you sweep everything under the rug. We've had this conversation so many times, and it all leads back to one thing: trauma.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like automatically, when you have some men, when a woman tries to touch him, you automatically think,
how are you?
I don't want her touching me because I think she's gonna try to sleep with me.
Right. I think that I really don't think the world has changed that much. I know a lot of people say back then and in the old days and all, but I really don't think the world changed that much. I think the only thing that has changed about the world is the way that we communicate with each other.
Yeah.
I think that the fact that I heard somebody say this the other day, that there was a time when we could not talk to somebody all day until we got home and got to the landline.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the fact that now that we can communicate with people millions, thousands of miles away is the only difference between back then and now. Mm-hmm. I still think that there are things that go on behind closed doors of mm-hmm. people's houses where nobody's saying anything. I still mm-hmm. think that there are young men going through trauma, mm-hmm. and instead of someone helping them out with it, the first thing that an adult will say is, "You a boy, boys don't cry." And so when it comes down to, when it comes down to intimacy and the difference between intimacy, your relationship, and sex, I think that once you learn and you put in your mind that all three of those things are different, then that means you would have to work on all three of those things as separate entities. Mm-hmm. But until you understand that all three of that, sex, intimacy, and relationship, are all different, you're never going to be able to be in a relationship with someone and it be something that is progressive, because relationships grow all the time. Relationships is something that grow and changes all the time. If you're in a relationship and you say, "Girl, she always been the same," or "Man, he ain't never changed," all that, then there's a problem with that, because somebody in that relationship is growing. And when you if you're the person that's growing in the relationship and the other person is content in where they are, this is going to cause friction. This is the reason that relationships end. Mm-hmm. Because the fear of somebody growing away from you will cause you to argue and deflect and gaslight and distract from what is really going on. And this is where the problem comes in. Because y'all arguing about toothpaste, y'all arguing about leaving the refrigerator and that little thing of Kool-Aid in it. Y'all arguing about everything except the fact that one of y'all is growing and changing and trying to go in a different direction, but the other person is staying where they are. And though the other person is they didn't want to go in a different direction away from you, they want you to go with them. But but a lot of people don't understand that it is not my job to pull you along with me. It is your job to keep pace with me. It is your job in a relationship to keep pace with the other person. It's not that other person's job to look at you and say, listen, if you don't come on, I'm gonna leave you. No, it's a job of each person in a relationship to look at each other and say, wait a minute, something is different about how you doing this. You doing this different, and I need to understand why you doing this different. Versus I'm tired of you leaving the toothpaste, the cap off the toothpaste every time you go to work. You're going to work early and earlier, and you waking me up and then making me late for work. And now y'all arguing about that instead of arguing about the fact that, okay, I'm a little scared. I'm a little scared that you growing faster than I am. What you mean you want to take classes? What you mean you want to do this? And you have to understand that in relationship, let's forget intimacy and sex. We're talking about relationship. And in relationship, you have to have conversations that are hard. You have to have conversations that might hurt a little bit. But if you're trying to have those difficult conversations with a person that you've been with them for 15, 20 years, and they don't want to have the conversation with you because it's too hard and it's too difficult and they don't feel like that right now, it's time for you to rethink what you're doing. I'm not telling you to leave nobody because trust, I'm not leaving mine. But if you start your relationship with great communication, it will continue with great communication. I don't want to hear nothing about, well, all of a sudden he just stopped talking to me. Lies. It's a lie. Nobody wake up one morning and say, I'm just not even going to talk to her no more. I'm done. I don't want to. Nobody does that. Nobody wakes up in the morning and say, I'm just going to sleep with that girl in that other cubicle because nobody does that. There are red, what they call them now? They call them now red flags. There are red flags all across your front yard.
Yep. Signs.
And you have stepped over all of them to get to that one little white flag where you give up. Yep. Go ahead, Mimi, because I got questions over here. I think I got questions, or comments.
Just basically piggybacking off of what you said, like in relationships, nobody just decides one day to quit the relationship. Just they go to sleep and next day, you know what, I'm done. That's it. I can't take it no more. The signs are there, but people don't actually, I don't know if people like being at the circus or what, but they see the red flags and they ignore them. Like there's different things. And I know go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I didn't want to because her thing is leaving. So Denise says, Denise says, I don't feel boys don't cry is being said now. I think I don't think it's very old school. I think that they have changed it from boys don't cry to boys can do whatever they want to, as even dress up as a girl. That's what I feel like. I feel like they may not say boys can't cry, but they damn well saying that they can now be as effeminate as they possibly can, and nothing is wrong with that. So and you're right. It has switched from boys can't cry to when they're 5 or 6 and boys can't cry till they get to high school and decide, oh, I decided that since I can't cry and girls can't, I just want to be one of them then. That's what I think. Okay, and then we have Forever Grateful. She says, I feel the best teacher is showing what you want by treating your partner how you want them to be treated. We talked about that too earlier. Don't put your friends on the same level as your partner. Hey, Jenny, exactly. And that's what we're talking about in separating relationships. You have all these different relationships, and none of those relationships are comparable to the one that you're having with your partner.
Right.
Because the relationship you have with a friend, it is not as, I have seen women leave their man Because they say, well, I've been with her since the beginning of this, that, and the other, and I've been with her since kindergarten and all. And you know what? Y'all been single since kindergarten. and so y'all been single since kindergarten. Yeah. And then and y'all gonna turn and y'all gonna be 70, 80, 90, rocking on the porch, no teeth, single. Because you have decided that your best friend, who you think knows everything about you and all this other stuff, instead of switching over from that being your best friend to having you another more intimate best friend, you gonna have a best friend, and the only best friend that y'all two gonna share together is a rose and a bucket of Haagen-Dazs. Because you have decided that her friendship or his friendship has lasted longer, and in that lasting longer, you have decided in your head that this is the kind of relationship that I value. I value just that somebody's known me this long. But even in that knowing, there's no way that your best friend from kindergarten will know you as intimately as a male or a female partner that you have decided to spend the rest of your life with, unless y'all two have decided that y'all gonna be in a different kind of relationship,
right?
And so I've seen men will leave a woman because their friend said she ain't worth this, that, and the other, because he said, she said, with all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so you and him going to be single, just like you were in high school, because you have decided. And when I say all of this stuff, it's not deep, it's not serious. You know what it all comes down to? You lazy. Because the friendship you develop from kindergarten on up, you ain't have to do no real work. Every now and then y'all might have got mad, but you ain't got to do no real work with that. But when you get in a relationship and it's intimate with the partner, and y'all going to be together for the rest of y'all life, that is real work. And a lot of us are just lazy. Yeah. Because we have decided that everything we want is either in the microwave or that damn air fryer. Go ahead, Mimi.
It's like people just don't understand that in relationships, period, you're going to have times where you're going to want to give up, but it doesn't mean that you should. But I also feel like what I don't like being in a relationship, if I vent to somebody and they tell me, hey, you need to just leave that person alone. Mm-hmm. I don't like telling people to leave nobody alone. What I say and what I learned is when people tell you something and they're just venting to you about their relationship, what I tell people, you'll get tired. When you ready, let me know. I'm not going to sit up there and say, oh, you should leave him alone. You should leave her alone. They're no good for you. No. And every time you tell me you're done with that person, I'm not going to be like, okay, well, since they said they're done, I'm just not going to deal with that person. I'm not going to say nothing to that person. I'm going to be ugly to that person. And then the next time I see that person with my best friend or my homegirl or my homeboy, I'm going to act ugly. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to treat you just like I treated you when I first found out that y'all were dating. I'm your friend. It's not about being phony. It's not about being fake. You could be cordial with just about anybody. But I think, like you said, people are lazy. They really don't want to do the work. When it comes to their friendship, if a friend hit them up, some people and their friend hit them up and say, you know what, I'm not your friend no more. You didn't do this, that, and the third. You up there walking on eggshells. You trying to cash app. You trying to get there to your friend because your friend said they don't want to be your friend no more. When your man or your woman is showing you simple things. Hey, can we watch a movie today?
Thank you. How you doing?
And you're constantly asking, or they're constantly asking. They're letting you know right then and there how to love them and what they need, but you're not paying attention. And it's because, like you said, people are lazy. It's the same thing, relationships with your children. People really are lazy. They say, oh, that child don't listen. I can't get through to my child. My children, some of them are teenagers. What I learned when dealing with my kids, I try to have conversations with them like, hey, what do you want to be in life? What do you want to do in life? And my son has gotten to the point where he really don't want to talk about life. He really don't want to talk about where he's going in life. And I know it kind of seems like we're getting off topic, but we're talking about relationships.
Right.
It don't
No, we still here.
Yeah, it don't have to be like an intimate relationship, but when you look at it in terms of friendships, relationships with your family, relationships with your kids, he's, like I was saying, he's gotten to the point where he really don't want to talk. So talking to him is like talking to a brick wall. But certain things I learned him. I learned his love language and what he needs from me.
Right.
I learned how to talk to him and not talk at him. And I think that
I think that some of the disconnect when it comes to being in a relationship with another adult person is that we're getting it confused. We're getting relationship with another adult confused with just being compliant and compromising. But there's compromise, yes. Yes, there's being compliant. All of that is great. But there are some things, like the boundaries you set for the other person, there are some things you can't compromise on. This is the boundary, and this is it. I'm not changing my mind on that. This is, like she said with your kids, this it, my foot down, I'm done. And one of the things that I said to Anton is, I said it one day to him. He had never heard it before. And he had never heard nobody say to him, I put my foot down and I mean what I say. And we were having a disagreement, and we was all out yelling, and we on the phone because he's incarcerated. I'm yelling at the phone. I got the phone right here. And I'm yelling, I'm going at it. And I said, I put my foot down and that's it. And he bust out laughing because he had never heard that before. No one had ever put a boundary on him because people were scared of him because of how he was. And people were scared of him, and people were anxious around him and all that. And he had never, and so it made him laugh. But even though kids act like they don't want it, everybody wants boundaries. Everybody wants to know, how far can I go before I do something that's going to be before I do something that I can't take back. Everybody wants to know that. And even in trying to get to that point, they want to rush and get to it. They want to just tell me everything, tell me what not to do. But that's not a relationship. And this is what I talk about. This is what I talk about when you're starting a relationship and you on your first date. Your first date with someone, you should never go on a first date with you and just that person. When you go on a first date with somebody, it should be you and at least a couple of your friends and then a couple of their friends. That way, the conversation never gets to the point where I'm not going to say men, because it's us as women, because you act like you got a Uzi or something in your hand and you just throwing the questions out at him, and he trying to dodge him, and he ain't dodging but 2 or 3 of them. Men do not like to be questioned. I don't care how innocent the question is. When you question a man over and over and over again like that, it feels like he's being attacked. And when a man feels like he's being attacked, his defenses go up. And when his defenses go up, he will do anything. Listen to me. He will do anything to defend himself from you. And y'all just met. So so that's why I say that Steve Harvey think like a man. Honey, the only person that should think like a man is a man who wants another man. Period. Because ain't no woman should be thinking like no man. The only man that should think like a man is a man that wants another man. Because a woman should always think like a woman. Because we are the influencers in this relationship. He is the leader, and he is the head, and he is the strength. He leads. We influence the leader. You the neck, he the head. Now I know y'all, a lot of women don't like to hear that. And that's why your life is effed up right now. That's exactly why your best friend is a rose. That's exactly why. That's exactly why your best friend is that ugly ass dog that should have been a rug and you adopted it from that's why. Because you decided that you want to change the entire, you want to be like Trump and just change the entire Bible. and add another constitution to it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not honoring that man because he's paying the bills. You're honoring him because of his leadership. And in honoring him, you make sure that he's fed and the house clean and the kids. I know you don't want to hear that. I know you don't want to hear it. And I know you don't want to hear that. I know it make you feel, well, I ain't nobody's slave and I ain't weak and I ain't know, but you'll do it for little Juju and he live in the basement. Juju ain't paid a bill since he turned 18 and he 30 now. You done bailed little Juju out of jail 6-7 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said, well, he's my child. No. He was your child until he turned 21. Now he's a grown-ass man. And you saving up, talking about I'm saving up to get him the PS6. Girl, listen. We will do things and enable our men, children, and our girls. And when it comes down to your relationship, you'll divorce that man for the same thing little Juju doing down in the basement with somebody's daughter. So everybody likes boundaries. And getting to those boundaries and talking about those boundaries is not I'm going to sit down and for 5 minutes, all we're going to talk about is what I don't like. And then after I tell you everything I don't like, then you tell me what you don't like. But while he telling you what he don't like, all your eyes done rolled back so far, your contacts got stuck. And so that's why that conversation should never be had. Boundaries are found out when somebody gets close to falling off that cliff that you done set up for them. And if you really love somebody and you really talking to them and you really get to know them, you know what happens? Some of the boundaries that you had from your last relationship, you won't bring over to your new one. Because you don't have to really set that boundary. Because guess what? Old boy don't act like the old one. Your new man don't act like that. Because sometimes we set rules and we set boundaries based off of the relationship that we just came out of. And you don't even need that rule. You don't even need that boundary. You don't even need that. Because this new man don't even do or act or say those things. He ain't even got the same lifestyle as the other person. And so now you punishing somebody else for something. And let me tell you something, because you ain't gonna like this either. When you punish somebody for something that somebody else did, you have not let that go. And you ain't got no business in no relationship. You have no business in another relationship because you didn't finish the last one. It's like my boyfriend told me when I went to the Chinese buffet. If you don't put them goddamn donuts back and you ain't finished that last batch, but them was fresh, them came off the fire. Put them damn donuts back until you finish that first batch of donuts. And that's why some of us are. We'll go back to the buffet to get what's hot and leave that old food on the table. But this is the thing, we'll get the hot and we'll push that aside, let it cool off. You feel what I'm saying? And we'll finish up that other one before it gets too cold.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that and you pull that into your life, into your relationship, you F up. You done messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to be sat on the back burner or on a warming plate while you figure your shit out. First of all, it's the most disrespectful shit ever to put a person on the back. A person, listen to me. Give me a second. Go ahead, Mimi. Give me a second, because my brother.
Okay. What? Basically piggybacking off of what she was saying, what Auntie was saying. She's right. Nobody wants to be put on a back burner until you figure it out. And I can honestly say that because I actually did that to somebody. And realizing, talking on this platform and realizing how I made people feel or how people made me feel, it's really not right. It's really not right to say, hey, I'm going to sit you at the back while I get myself together. And when I get myself together and I'm finally ready for a relationship, you should be right there waiting for me. First of all, me, to be honest, I'm kind of young. I'm 33, but I don't double back. I really don't. And it's not because I feel like it's something wrong. And if you've ever doubled back, that's your thing. And I'm not saying that people can't change, but because the reason why I don't double back is because sometimes I haven't healed from the thing they did to me in the past. So I feel like doubling back, I'm gonna be laying next to you. It could be a whole different vibe. You could be older, you could be wiser, but I'll still be thinking about the thing that you did to me. Like, I have had exes reach out to me and just want to say, hey, and I'll be like, do you remember when you did such and such and such? And because they've grown and they're grown, I'm talking about stuff that happened in middle school and they're not even remembering it. But that's how some people's minds work. But as Auntie said, yeah, you shouldn't put people on the back burner. You shouldn't. And if you're not healed from your past relationship, I feel like we all should heal before moving on to a new relationship, because you'll always equate your new relationship to the things that you did in the past. That
Right.
man might not do anything like what your ex did, or woman might not do anything that your ex did. She may say something or look a certain way, or he may look a certain way or
Yep.
do a certain thing, and then all of a sudden your mind goes right back to what you dealt with in the past. I feel like once you're finally healed, if you heal from your past relationships, then when a person come along with that BS, you won't fall for it because you're healed. I feel like hurt people, and unhealed souls attached to other unhealed souls. But I feel like if I'm not healed and he's not healed, neither one of us are healed. How can we help each other heal?
Right. I think that one of the biggest mistakes that I used to make is that when that person, that ex, reached out, I
Mm-hmm.
answered.
Mm-hmm.
The worst thing you can do is have a conversation with an ex. And I say that because unless y'all got children involved, or something like that, because, and I know this gonna sound mean, his mama died, that ain't got nothing to do with you. His sister ran off with somebody, that ain't got nothing to do with you. The only reason that women, and I know about women because I'm the only reason that women talk to exes is because we don't have closure. When you have, and one of the, I don't understand as a woman, I still don't understand why we do it, but I done forced myself not to do this no more. I don't need no closure. We're done. We're done.
Yeah.
You, the guys I used to talk to done came, tried to be my friend on TikTok. I don't have nothing to say. There's nothing to say. Everything that could have been said, should have been said, would have been said is over with.
Yep.
There's no need. There's no conversation.
Yep.
I no longer need closure
Yep.
because it's closed. You close the door. When you close the door, I close the door on my side and I locked it.
And I say
Because
that
when
all
you
the
put
time.
yourself, when you have these conversations, you put yourself back in the frame of mind of where you were. Just like she said, back in that frame of mind where you were with that person. And if and the 2 or 3 steps as you took toward being a different person, you just regressed into that. Because now you're talking about the bull, they misunderstood. Now you're talking about the bull crap that y'all were arguing about back then that has nothing to do with your light bill getting paid right now.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with whoever your man with you with right now. That have nothing to do with y'all.
I'm a
And so I understand where the curiosity. Listen, let me tell you something. Curiosity. I understand where the curiosity comes from. Because when I be looking at them, thank you, misunderstood. When I be looking at them and looking at the little picture and trying to, and I be thinking to myself, damn, he still look good. And I get it. And I get the curiosity. I get the I want him to know how good I'm doing right now. But I guarantee you, the conversation does not go to how good you're doing. You might talk a little bit about how y'all been doing, but I guarantee you, if you black and you've been in a relationship with another black man or a woman, I guarantee you 5 minutes or 10 minutes in the conversation, all of a sudden, is it still good? And he is not talking about your banana pudding. I promise you. The conversation goes to a place where it has no business going, because that man didn't want to talk to you or get back in touch with you or whatever, just to say hi. He wanted to know if he could get your legs at 10 and 2 as quick as he could have got them back in the day.
Yeah.
Because an X is an X for a reason.
Yep.
And I'm not beating up on Mimi. I'm talking about women in general. An X is an X for, and I'm telling you because it happened to me. Within 10 minutes, he was asking me for my address. And if it had been back in the day, before Anton, I would have gave it to him. And I would have been on my back, legs at 10 and 2. And then crying when he left, because I knew he was going to that old ugly black thing that looked like a piece of bacon. I said it, and I'm not taking it back. She looked like bacon that has been in the oven for too long. I said it. Anyway, so this is what happens. So leave them exes alone. They have they're exes. There's an X for a reason. When you go to the hospital and they tell you don't come in this room, there's a big X on the door, treat it just like that. Treat an X like he got some kind of disease or he got radiation poisoning. Because you about to get yourself in something that you can't get out of. And if your new man is upset, you can't get mad because they upset. Because you went back to something that you told him all the negative things about. So now what happened to all the negative things you said and why you don't speak with that person no more? So why bring that back into your life? You feel what I'm saying? So wait a minute, I got something. Somebody saying something. Hold on. Oh, you are so right. I have fallen for. Yeah, Denise, all of us have, listen, it ain't nobody that ever been in a relationship that has not fallen for I just called to say hi. Everybody done fell for that. Especially, and I tell you when the devil send them too. I tell you when Beelzebub sends them. When y'all done had an argument, when you sad or he gone and you lonely and he done been to work and he doing the double so that y'all could have more, that's when they send him. Send him right when in a moment of when you're gonna be weak. And this is where relationship comes in. Yep. Because if you're in a true relationship with somebody and you ain't just hanging out because I need a place to live, or I just want a warm body in the bed. When you're in a true relationship with somebody, when somebody tries to get into your space that you know has no business being in your space, the person that you're with at that moment, that's when you pick up your phone and you text them, you send them a dirty picture, you do something to get them to call you back real quick. You better learn how to distract and gaslight your own self. When I get lonely and somebody want to call me, or I start looking, I know when it's bad when I'm looking through my phone, just looking for somebody to call. I'll pick up. I don't got no more because I don't use them all. I had these little bitty legal pads like this, and I would write Anton a letter. I got tired, flipped the page, and he said, "Why are you sending me all these little bitty letters?" And I said, "Because this is how much I think about you during the day." And if you don't write letters or text or go to Dollar Tree and get some cards or whatever to give your person, I don't understand what you're doing in your relationship. I don't understand what you're doing in your relationship. Because and when they say the same thing you did to get them, that's how you keep. They ain't talking about just gifts and money and taking me out. We're in a real relationship now. These lights got to be paid. These children got to be fed. Shoes got to be bought. So all that going out that we did for you to get for you to romance me, I don't need you to romance me. You want to know how to romance me? Come on, baby, let's go to the light place because we about to pay the light bill. That is the most romantic shit ever. Come on, baby, let's go talk to the people at Xfinity and see, or cable, and see Comcast and see if we can go ahead and get some more stuff and get our bandwidth widened. You know how long you got to wait in them places? While y'all sitting there waiting, y'all holding hands and talking about the silliest shit ever. You ain't got to have money to go out. You better go put on your good clothes, go sit in one of them restaurants where you can't afford nothing but the breadsticks. Order some tea And y'all just sit and talk over drinks and them damn breadsticks. Don't tell me that you don't have the money. Don't tell me you don't have the time. You can go sit in your car at the airport. You can go sit in your car or go sit on the swings and at the park. Yeah. There's a lot of things that we don't do because we have fooled ourselves into thinking that we too grown, that we have become adults. I do not know when in our brains it clicks that we can't skip down the street. Now, I say this as a 220-pound woman who I feel that if I do try to skip at this juncture in my life, that I might break a kneecap. However, I'm talking to y'all 125-pound bit. Listen, I don't know when we decided that we can't go buy some ice cream and lick it while we're walking down the streets. I don't understand when we came to the decision where we can't go to the park and just sit on the swing and swing. How you mean you grown? When you're grown, let me explain what grown is. Grown is I can do whatever the hell I want to, when I want to, and how I want to. You remember that? Because when you were a child, you couldn't go to the park when you wanted to. You had to ask your mama. When you was a child, you had to ask your mama if you could have ice cream. When you was a child, you couldn't skip or run because your mama told you keep your ass still. But you grown. Mm-hmm. You can get up and go and do whatever you want to do when you want to do it. And the fact that you have somebody to share that with. Because if you can't be silly with the person that, man, listen, this is the thing I try to tell people, and I know people get mad, and I know church people just get upset. You let a man put his penis in your vagina, and you mean to tell me that you can't run and skip and laugh and jump and go fly a kite with this booger? You let him do the most intimate thing to you known to man, and you can't run, skip, laugh, and joke and all that with this person. Because what you say, he ain't got no sense of humor. Then we with the wrong person. Because if you got a sense of humor, then they have to have a sense of humor. Because that means you have to shut off some part of you to please them. And the answer to that is hell no. Mm-hmm. I got a weird sense of humor. First of all, I'm nasty as hell. Y'all, if you've been on this live more than 2 or 3 times, I'm nasty. You know I'm nasty as hell. And then sometimes my sense of humor is kind of morbid. You know, people say it ain't funny because, you know, they're sensitive now.
Dark humor.
Don't give a damn. I don't, because my light's still on. I don't care nothing about what nobody else talking about right now. So you have to, I understand that opposites attract, but when they talking about opposites attract, they're talking about opposites attract in a way that my sense of humor should not cause you pain and anger. My sense of humor and the way that I am should not cause you stress and anxiety. Yeah. My sense of humor and the way that I am, my man is very introverted. He's quiet because he stutters. He's quiet and he's very observant. Me, I got everybody in the room laughing. I know everybody named in the doctor's office waiting room within the first 2 minutes of me getting in there. That's our opposites that attract. Mm-hmm. I don't make him upset. It blows his mind that I can just walk up to somebody and start talking. He says I can't do that because I done been hurt so many times by people calling me stupid, especially women. And so he has a very standoffish way with women. And for some reason, they find it very attractive because they're trying to break the shell or whatever. I didn't find it attractive. I found it scary. So I broke the shell quick. I got time for all that. You're going to either talk to me or we're not going to be able to do this. And so that's when they're talking about opposites attract. Iron should sharpen iron. Whatever my strength is, it should sharpen whatever your weakness is. And whatever your strength is, his strength is money and holding on to it till it's screaming. So whatever my weakness is, his iron sharpens mine. And when it all boils down to it, if anything comes in trying to get in between us, they're gonna get their ass cut up. Because whatever way we swing into to complement each other. And that's how it's supposed to be. But you are looking beautiful. Thank you so much. Girl, this is filter. But so let's stay away from the X thing. You see him, block. you block and delete.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing that you have to say to me, and there's that because you have, and it's hard for us, Mimi. It is hard for women to not want closure, because closure means that we fixed it. Closure for a man is he went out, he gone. When he say it's over, that's his closure, and that's why men be looking at you like this when you trying to explain that you need them explain it better. A Negro can tell you, I just don't want to be with you no more. And then the first thing you say is, but why? If somebody tell you they don't want to be with you, when your job fire you, and what is but why gonna do? What is you knowing going to change anything? You just prolonging the inevitable. And I think a lot of times we do that because we think we can talk them back into the relationship so that we can work it out. Because once a man tell you that he don't want you no more, you know you don't want that booger no more. You just want to leave on your own terms. You just don't want to leave because he told you to. You want to work it out to the point where you got it to the point where you can really, like, you can live with yourself that this is a failure, and there's nothing I can, and there's actually nothing I can do about it. She must have not read my comment. Keisha, some of the comments get cut out. Go ahead, Mimi. Let me find Keisha comment.
Okay. Well, like you said, I feel like an ex doubling back, because sometimes they doubling back, like you said, just to see if they could sleep with you again. Sometimes they doubling back to see if you still dumb. Like,
yes, their context.
So I do understand that. But also what I wanted to say, even when you have children by them, unless your children are not teenagers, I still feel like you do not have to communicate with an ex. That's just me.
You don't. You have. That's what mediators are for. You don't.
So when his dad, one day he was talking to his dad, and his dad was like, "Let me speak to your mom."
Hey, Sanchez.
And I said, "For what? I don't want to speak to him for what?" And he was like, he called me by my, my real first name. And he was like, "Why can't I talk to you? Why can't I see your face?" So I didn't get on camera. I had the phone like looking up at the ceiling. He told me, "I want to see your face." I said, "For what?" I still want to see how you look and how good you look. I said, "Look, come take this phone. I don't got time for that." Like, I believe in sometimes, or no, all the time, no closure is closure. Like you said, a man can leave a relationship and that's his closure. He don't have to tell you why he's breaking up with you. He just don't even, you shouldn't even want an explanation. If a man decides that you are not good enough for him and he is not good enough for you, there is no reason why you would want to know why. Why do you want to prolong the inevitable? If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. And that's what I learned. Like, I don't give people closure. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't give closure. When I broke up with my daughter's father last year, January 8th, it was just done. He wanted to know why. Why? Can we work it out? Is there anything that I could do? What didn't I do? Sir, we were together 5 years. And out of those 5 years, 3 of them I was cheated on the whole 3 years. And then the last 2 years, you tried to get yourself together, but it was still the same thing. But I was showing you the signs and the red flags and the green flags that you should have been paying attention to, but you didn't. So I think people just need to understand that you don't need closure. You don't need closure from a relationship. You don't need closure from a job. You don't even need closure from your people. I feel like if they don't tell you why, don't ask why. Just let it be what it's going to be and end it on that. I think people don't really understand, why do you need to get closure? What's the point? Like Auntie said, it's not going to change the way they feel about you. Oh, wow. And sometimes when you go to get closure, they might sneak their way back in and then just be like, you know what? I know she still loves me, or I know he still loves me. So now I'm going to just use them for what I can get out of them. There's just no need.
Well, I think that, and thank you, Mimi. My brother,
oh no,
my brother don't talk to me until I get on this thing. Yes, I cooked him dinner. I made him banana pudding. He's still now. As long as he eating, he got mad because I finally got rid of Bad Woman. Anyway, oh, you see how your mouth open? I'll tell y'all about that when I switch back over to TikTok. How long we been? Oh, it's about time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm getting ready to switch back over to TikTok, and we're going to end this StreamYard. I need to learn how to. I haven't learned how to edit these things, but I'm just gonna put it on there the way it is, honey. It is live and raw. So y'all, me and Mimi coming on this side. Thank you so much for the StreamYard. I'm gonna post this on. I'm gonna repost it just in case you want to show some friends. But I'm gonna end the stream and.